welcome to today's vlog. Little Spud featuring in the background. Today we are off to evening dressage with Finley and Archie. If you are fairly new to the channel, Finley and Donnie are my own horses and I have lately been riding some of Teresa's horses too. You've met Bertie, you've met Betty, and you've also met Archie, who I rode at Equivest. So we're doing the brand new Prelim 2024 tests. I thought I'd just start at Prelim with all the horses that I ride, kind of make it easier for me. And yeah, I haven't done any dressage since, I don't think I did much last winter. So I think it would be like, yeah, 2023, something like that. So yeah, we're off to Forest Edge, which is our local venue, and thankfully it's all indoors, the warm-up's indoors and everything, because that's outside. What do you think to this weather? Do you like the rain, or do you prefer it dry? He says, I quite like snuggling in the bed. So our dressage test, I think, is on at about 6:20. I think we've got Archie first. He's bad. And then we've got Finley is the very last test in the prelim, so we've got a bit of a break between the two. Archie has never done dressage before, but we have been practicing. He's quite level-headed, he's quite sensible, and I feel like he's gonna do a really good test. When I've been practicing with him, he's just been absolutely super. You're not coming though. Heartbreaks. Yeah, as Finley used to be quite the dressage horse back in the day. Before I got into showing, I did a lot of dressage with Finley because I used to work on a dressage yard. But it has definitely all gone downhill. Finley used to compete at elementary and he used to kind of train up to medium level at home. We were just trying to train him to do flying changes, half pass, stuff like that. But since we've been to Norfolk, Finley's done loads of hunting and the dressage has definitely gone out the window. We haven't done any dressage in a long time, so it could be interesting. Hi, Spud. Hi, Spud. Hi, Spud. Yeah. So, yeah, with Finley, I really don't know what to expect. He has not been very easy to school. Before it was torrential rain, like it has been all week, it was quite nice at the weekend, so I'm going to insert a clip of Finley training for the dressage test and I'll show you how the new prelim tests are slightly different to the old ones. So this test starts like any other, trotting in at A, and when you get to C, turning left. So this is its own movement judged on straightness, rhythm. Finley's giving a little bit of sass and he's a little bit tense and argumentative into the bridle here. So the next move is something that I've never seen in a prelim before. This is usually not till novice, and that's to trot a 15-meter loop between the two letters on the track and then going back to the track. So doing like a loop and then coming back on yourself. I mean, this movement is done in novice, usually in canter to show some counter canter, but this is a new thing that we're going to do it in trot. So then you trot a 20-meter circle at C and give and retake the reins over X. So that's fairly normal for a prelim. And then you repeat the process with doing the loop, but this time on the right. So again, trotting down the centre line, and then before you get to the bottom, you ride a right 15-meter loop and come back to the track, like doing a change of rein. I quite like this movement. I think it's quite good for getting the horse bending around your leg. It's just different. Usually it would be done in canter. So yeah, and then exactly the same, your 20-meter circle left at C with giving and retaking the reins. And this is quite a like a difficult movement for a prelim, because it's to show like that your horse stays in the contact when you give the reins, that they're truly supple and soft over their back. Yeah, as prelim I always find strange, you know, it's a test where your horse is like just literally learning to canter. It's the next step up from intro. So yeah, it's quite tricky to perform it well. Then you do a change of rein, and when you get to A, medium walk. Now when you medium walk like straight at A, you can't hide anything from the judge, and it's a medium walk all the way around to the centre of the arena, where you're going to do a 20-metre half loop and allow the horse to stretch. This is also quite a difficult movement for me and Finley, because he does not like to stretch very much, as Donnie loves to stretch. So yeah, to have this in the middle of the test, I feel like is another little test in itself, because most horses want to stretch towards the end of the test. So then you're going back into the medium walk, and Finley's just going to want to trot, and then when you get to the corner before A, picking up trot and riding a 20-metre circle to the right. So this time on the circle, they want you to pick up canter on the second half of the circle. So you've got quite a lot of time to ask your horse to canter, but usually in the old prelim tests, you would pick up canter in a corner. So I kind of quite like this, because you have more time to canter, and then you're cantering a 20-metre circle in the centre of the arena, which is pretty straightforward. Canter is Finley's strongest movement. We like the canter work, as I definitely say with Donnie, he prefers the trot work. Another new movement coming up, where we're changing the rein in canter but trotting at X, and this is a really good test of the horse's balance, because they're almost thinking counter canter and then trotting at X. And Finley, you can see, picked up left lead canter straight away, because he's so used to doing simple changes. So it's going to be quite difficult for me to keep him in trot. Back on your 20-metre circle on the left rein, and basically repeating the process. So you're going to be picking up canter anytime on the second half of the circle. Again, gives yourself quite a bit of time to pick up the left lead canter. Same thing again with your canter circle, 20 metres in the middle of the arena. Again, you know, looking at your horse's balance, suppleness, the shape of the circle, all of that, and then doing that same like canter change of rein thing, which is completely new. Usually in the prelim tests, all change of reins would be in trot. So yeah, you're doing cantering from the corner to X, then trotting, and keeping your horse in trot, which is a good test of balance. So the last movement on the test is to ride a 20-metre circle, but on the sheet it doesn't say C, it kind of says like before K, so it kind of works out at basically half a 20-metre circle at C, and allowing your horse to stretch. It's just kind of weirdly worded. And then coming down the centre line at A and halting at G, as I'm sure in most of the prelim tests you used to always halt at X, but G is much closer to the judge, so you cannot hide anything. So Archie has never seen boards, and I don't think he's ever been to this venue either, but Finley has seen it. He has been to this venue, and Finley is quite sharp. He's quite spooky, and we always do quite busy tests with him, because if not, he finds things to spook at. So I don't think he's going to be that well behaved. Plus, he's had 2 days off because it has just been torrential rain, and I've been quite busy. I've literally only just unpacked kind of thing from the last show. So these are my predictions. I think Archie is going to make top 4. I'm gonna go for it. I think Archie's gonna make top 4, and I think he's gonna score 64% plus. That's my guess. I think Finley is gonna be I'm gonna say Finley could be like top 6, maybe, with a score of 60% plus. But if Finley is in dressage mode, which is very unlikely, he could potentially be a wild carder and score a 70% plus out the bag, because I think the highest he's scored is 80%. He used to be quite talented. But if he's in the Finley mood he has been in this last month, I think it's definitely going to be, I think Archie's going to be on top. But Archie's definitely the easier one to ride, and Archie's only 6, Finley's 16, coming up for 17, and he's not going to change. He's just a spicy, silly boy. I'm just finishing work. It's time to go out there. And Finley has been out in the rain all day. I didn't actually bring him in. He likes to be out, so he hasn't got a neck rug on either. He's going to be really filthy, but I've got to plait Archie first, and then we'll go and see what absolute state Finley is in. The boys are so ready to come in. I'm coming, boys! This is what I'm working with. At least his body's dry. It's just this. I know. Am I a bad mummy leaving you in the rain? They had, they've got 2 stables out there and a field shelter. But do they go in it? No. Yeah. But hopefully by the time I plait Archie and come back, you might be dry? Question mark. And I've got to do something with this tail because it is pea stained. Gross. Guys, I've caved. I just got back to my yard. Washed his tail. I boiled the kettle twice because hot water is the only thing that makes a grey clean. Did his tail, and I thought, looked at his legs, looked at his neck. I thought that's going to be at least another 6 kettles worth. Why am I doing this? I've got a hot horse shower. It takes seconds to plug up. So plugged it up, got it out, just washed all the mud off. He's not had a body wash, just his legs, his neck, his mane, his face and his tail. 100 times better. And because he was already wet, the mud literally just came out. So yeah, now I can plait him, but he looks so much better. So yeah, and it's not actually that cold today. It's about 15 degrees. But yeah, 100 times better. Like he's white now instead of yucky yuck. So I'm going to plait him in a minute. I'm just going to put my hot horse shower away. This is from Affordable Equine. I've had this a couple of years, and this is the cheapest hot shower I found on the market. I think it was about £200, which has been the best investment ever. Finley disagrees. And he even let me mop his face a little bit. Yes. Finley all plaited and clean. He looks so much better, so I'm so glad I gave him a bath. Plaits are okay for bands, like they don't need to be anything special. It just feels so weird banding, but I've banded all his plaits in 20 minutes, so it's nice. I'm just going to see if I can find like a drying rug and some bandages to stick on him so he can dry off whilst I go home and get ready. So I've got hundreds of rugs for Finley, literally hundreds. That rack there, hundreds of rugs. Can I find a fleece for the neck for Finley? No, I can't even find one for Donnie that'll fit him. Him and a wee. We've got a very fancy dry rug as well that dries horses. Don't know where that is. Donnie has a little bit of a bowl cut going on. That's my fault, sorry. So me and Finley have arrived. He's actually looking quite clean considering how filthy he was like an hour ago. And he loaded like a dream, didn't you? And this is rare for him to be tucking into his hay. Usually when we go out, he gets a bit worried and nervous and he doesn't usually eat that much, but this is good. You excited? Maybe. So we're just waiting for Archie now. So Teresa should be here any minute. We're going to do Archie together, get him tacked up and ready. He's on first. Then Finley is the very last horse to go in the test. So there's about 40 minutes in between. So I'm hoping that should be enough just to get Finley tacked up, warmed up and in. Good boy. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just waiting for Teresa and excited. I'm really looking forward to tonight. So we'll see. I haven't ridden like Finley at a show what feels like an ages. I mean, it was the veteran champ, so it wasn't ages. But it's been a long time since we've done this sort of thing. Isn't it, Finley?
Nice and quiet down here, isn't it?
So we took Archie in the arena and he was mildly freaked out by the boards and the boxes. I only had a couple of minutes to literally show him them, so I just pushed him on and rode this the best I can, but he was very spooky. But this was his first ever time doing a dressage test and seeing the boards, and he'd never been to this venue either. So the first movement scored a 6, which I think was really generous considering he literally stopped at the bottom. To spook at C, like I honestly thought this would be like a 2 or something like that because he literally stopped. And she just literally wrote loss of tempo and bend at C, which I think is ridiculously generous. So the next movement was HE working trot between E and K, half circle left, 15 metres diameter, and she scored us a 4. Obviously we had major spooks, so yeah, totally fine. Like the bend bit was good, but going around the boards, yeah, he wasn't very happy about that. Then you had to circle right 20 metres at C, and this scored a 5.5. She said it was an odd shape and a bit unbalanced, and it was an odd shape to be fair, because I was trying to keep him away from the boards because he was so spooky at them. So between B and F, half circle right, 15 metres diameter, returning to the track at M. That scored a 7, and this does look quite together. Actually, this whole test looks quite together compared to how it felt. I honestly was very out of breath, and this was very hard work to get him going round in the boards. So then we had to circle left 20 metres diameter at C, giving and retaking the reins when crossing the centre line. This scored a 6.5, losing bend over C. Yeah, we were spooking. But yeah, I think fairly generous considering, look, you can see here he's like looking at C. HXF changed the rein in working trot, that scored a 7. I turned early for it to avoid the scary box at H. But yeah, that wasn't bad. He was just a little bit lucky, but nothing too much. A transition to medium walk, AKE medium walk, scored a 5.5. She wrote obedient in transition, hesitation at K. I think that's very generous because that was more than hesitation. He was scared of the box. But again, this is his first time. So half circle right at E to B, allowing your horse to walk on a free walk on a long rein. And he scored a 7 for this. Archie does do a really good walk. I think he could have taken the stretch further forwards personally, but he didn't spook at anything, so that was a bonus. B medium walk, and between F and A transition to working trot. This scored a 7. You can see he's looking at the boxes in walk, but he's nowhere near as bad as what he is when you get trotting on. A circle right 20 metres, and in the second half of the circle pick up the right lead canter. This scored a 7. She just wrote hollowed in transition but fair shape and size. It wasn't the best transition, but it could have been worse. And then at E we had to do a circle right 20 metres diameter, and this scored a 7. Yeah, he seemed to be fairly together. He felt quite fast, I'm not going to lie, for him. Usually he's quite a steady horse to ride, but yeah, he was like lucky but forward going. MXK changed her rein with a transition over working trot at X. She scored us a 6 and said model transition. Yeah, absolutely fine because it was a bit rushed. A circle left 20 metres diameter, and in the second half of the circle pick up working canter left. This scored a 5.5, onward bound and unbalanced. Yeah, no joke, literally he was bounding on like we were about to go hunting. I don't know what it was about going on the left rein, but he was proper like, let's go. I think it was because we were near the gate and he was like, woohoo. And then we did a circle left 20 metres diameter, and she gave us a 5.5, which was really generous because I felt out of control. So this circle was very messy for me. HXF changed the rein and pick up trot at X. She scored us a 6.5. Really generous because I turned so early. That was a bit of a mess from my behalf, but I was just hoping to get some control. F, A, K, working trot, and between K and E, a half circle right 20 metres, allowing the horse to stretch. This scored a 7. Stretching is one of Archie's strong points. Yeah, he could have stretched forward for, like a lot more for him, but yeah, it was fine. A down the centre line. G, halt, immobility, salute. This scored a 6, losing bend on turn and drifting, but fairly square in halt. I was well off the centre line. But yeah, and then we scored a 6 for paces, a 6 for impulsion, a 5.5 for cooperation, and a 7.5 for my position. And she said, very well ridden. A little spooky, but when the aides are and he's listening to the aides, pleasing movements. So yeah, but that actually looked better than it felt, because it felt scary, fast and out of control. I then had half an hour to get Finley out, get him warmed up, and yeah, I'm not going to lie, I feel like the first test affected my riding a little bit. I was a little bit tense, and I think that reflected through Finley, but once I relaxed, he definitely relaxed too, and we started to flow together a bit more. So here's Finley doing the exact same test, the Prelim 3. So entering at working trot, proceeding down to the centre line, and C tracking left. This scored a 7, fairly straight and active. Yeah, I thought this was pretty good. We had a slight wobble there, but yeah, 7 was fair. H, E working trot, and between E and K, a half circle left 15 metres diameter, returning to the track at H. We scored a 7, and she said we were very accurate. Yeah, Finley, I think, could have been a bit more forward. You can see I'm kicking quite a bit. He's quite, he's going up and down, but not really going anywhere. I'd say he's more in a collected trot. But yeah, we were pretty accurate with our riding, straight to H and using the corner. Then we had to do a circle right 20 metres diameter and give and retake the reins when crossing the centre line. This scored a 6.5, and she said the circle was a little oval. Looking back at it, yeah, I definitely should have had a bit more inside bend and made the circle a bit rounder, but I was overall happy with the way I did the give and retaking of the reins. We didn't lose the contact too much when we did that. Between B and F, half circle right 15 metres diameter, returning to the track at M, and we scored a 7. The comment was fair bend. So yeah, Finley was quite enjoyable to ride, and because he's quite a bit smaller, it's much easier to turn him, ride more accurately, you know, and use my space. Then the circle left 20 metres diameter, give and retake the reins when crossing the centre line. Same again, 6.5, circle a little oval. Yeah, definitely need to work on my circles becoming a bit more rounder. I think I'm so desperate to get the give and retake bit done that I'm not focusing on the actual circle shape itself. The next movement is HXF. Changed the rein in working trot, and we scored a 7. Her comment was active steps. So he looks very pretty here, but I definitely think he could be a little bit more engaged. A, transition to medium walk, AKE medium walk. 6, abrupt transition. Completely agree. This is something Finley does. It's one of his little flaws. Whenever I ask for walk, he literally puts the handbrake on, and it's quite hard to get him to go forward. So completely agree with that. He definitely needs to be more fluent in his downward transitions. But with Finley, he's always trying to second guess me, and if I use too much leg, then he jogs. So he's quite difficult in that aspect. EB, half circle right 20 metres in a free walk on a long rein. We scored a 6, losing impulsion, could show more stretch. Yeah, again, this is something we really struggle with Finley. He doesn't like to stretch, he much prefers to collect. Then had to pick up medium walk at B, and then between F and A, a working trot transition, and this scored a 7. the next movement is to ride a 20-metre circle at A, and in the second half of the circle, pick up a working canter transitioned on the right. She scored us a 6.5 for this, losing quarter slightly in transition, but obedient. So let's watch this transition. Yeah, maybe we did lose the quarters a little bit, but I think it was worthy of higher than a 6.5, considering Archie scored a 7 and he become above the bridle. The next movement was circle right 20 metres diameter at E in working canter, and this scored a 7. Finley's canter work usually scores quite well. And then MXK changed the rein with a transition to working trot over X. And she scored us a 6, and she said we lost balance at M. Yeah, we did lose a little bit of balance, but I actually think his downward transition was really lovely. So I think it was worth more than a 6. And then we picked up our circle at A, left 20 metres, and then in the second half of the circle, picking up our working canter transition, and this scored a 7. She said it was a good transition. So let's look at that. And canter Finley. Yeah, that was a really nice transition, to be fair. So then a B, circle left 20 metres diameter, and then BMCH working canter. This scored a 7. Circle a little oval. Yeah, maybe. I think the first half of the circle was a little bit big, maybe. So the next movement was HXF, change the rein with a transition to working trot over X. She scored us a 6 and said muddled transition, but let's watch this. I don't think it was that muddled, to be fair. I think it was fairly clear, but that's just me. Then we scored a 7.5 for this, which is really good for us, which is a working trot, and then between K and E, half circle right, 20 metres diameter, and allow the horse to stretch. Well, stretching is something we really struggle with, so this was really good for Finley because, yeah, we don't usually get that much of a good stretch. Then A down the centre line and G halt immobility salute, 6.5, losing the left shoulder on the centre line, fairly straight but not square behind. I definitely think we turned early, but his halt was pretty good by one back leg. So yeah, we scored a 7 for paces, a 6.5 for impulsion, a 7 for cooperation, and a 7 for my position and seat. Well guys, we're now back. It's nearly 8 o'clock. It's very, very dark. The boys are just eating their tea. Finley came 2nd. Archie came 5th, and there was 9 in it. So yeah, it was quite exhausting, I'm not going to lie. Finley was a really good boy, just a little bit rusty. He just made the error of, he did a flying change, which was a bit annoying. I had to then change him back. Archie was petrified of the boards. Like, he didn't know what hit him. So, yeah, I had to work really hard, and I don't know how I managed to keep him in the boards because he was so spooky. And then when I got him cantering, he was so fast because he was like scared. Yeah, so Finley won on this occasion. Finley was really, really good, just rusty. But I think Archie, once he gets to see the boards a few more times, I think he'll be amazing. So I've had a really good night. It's raining again, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing more dressage. I just need to relax more, as after the first test I got quite tense because Archie was very tense. I had to work really hard, and then I think when I was on Finley I was a bit like, don't spook, just relax, and then I was gritting my teeth a little bit. But yeah, overall it was a very good evening. It's very dark, so I'm going to leave the vlog there. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I hope you're looking forward to some more winter dressage over these winter months. See you all next week. Bye.